And one final nail in the coffin for this topic on this day. Until we reopen this coffin Dracula style and start talking about it again tomorrow, this, I think, will be the final video we make on the day in regards to the Vancouver Canucks and whatever is going on with their trade situation, because what I wanted to do in this video was dive into a recent article published by Ian McIntyre, as well as get into some quotes shared by Rick Dollywall on his own show, on Halford and Bruff, and on other platforms. So, earlier in today's show, we had made a video talking about JT Miller and the apparent interest that the New Jersey Devils have in this entire situation. According to some of the NHL insiders that we know and love, apparently New Jersey is really in on Miller, and this could be one of these situations that evolves into something more and maybe even becomes a trade. However, this isn't the only update in regards to JT that we had seen from this morning, with the first one coming to us in the form of an iMac article. Now, the link is going to be in the description of this, as well as the link to our ExpressVPN affiliate page. The channel is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and use our link to get some free months and save yourself some money. Also, it helps out the channel, so I'm very appreciative about that. But Ian McIntyre published this earlier this morning. Miller and the Canucks look completely unrecognizable in a dispiriting loss to the LA Kings. The article talks about how the team played off against LA earlier on in the season. In November, they looked pretty good. They won. However, things did not look all too great yesterday, especially by comparison. This is where Rick Tocchet went out there and spoke about the Canucks and their situation after the game. You get punched in the mouth and you get back up, Coach Rick Tocchet told reporters on Thursday. You can't quit on yourself or your teammates. If you're in this business long enough, you're going to get these situations. Character guys, leadership, all that stuff usually comes out of it, so we are looking for those types of people right now. The article then dives into an actual game summary. It talks about the Canucks losing, and it's not a pretty recap. We can skip all of that because we had discussed a lot of those topics and more yesterday. iMac then writes this: Boeser missed 7 games with his concussion and, but for a 4-game scoring binge at Christmas, has struggled to make an impact since his return. While Boeser was out, Miller began his 10-game personal leave of absence, and he has not been the same player since. It's hard, Miller said Thursday night. I'm trying to be mentally strong, and I think this is where your character shows, in moments like this. So today, my mindset was to work my ass off and see what happens, and I really still think I did that, but it's just costly mistakes right now. I just need to focus more. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm on the wrong side right now and it's on me. I'm a leader on the team, and the team expects me to be a lot better than this, so that's my focus. Really? JT Miller says he thinks he worked his behind off. And what? I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll just continue on with that. Miller did not register a shot in 14:34 of ice time against the Kings and has gone 5 games without a point. Kind of interesting how it was just a few days ago everybody was talking about, oh, we had a 4-point game against Montreal. Who cares if they lost? Miller still had 2 goals and 2 assists. This is the old Miller coming back to play. And I'll admit, that was a good game. It was a good showcase and good levels of point production from a guy whom we expect to be able to produce like that. But it just did not continue. And now he has gotten all this attention in a negative way. Rick Tocchet even spoke out saying, yeah, he's struggling. He's caught in between. You know, it seems like every time he's on the ice, something bad happens. I think he's got some bad luck, but he's also got some reads that he's got to look at himself right now and focus on some of those reads. I think he's trying. I think the focus level has got to get a little higher. Man, what a quote from a head coach. Every time he's on the ice, something bad happens. That's... oh my gosh. Who could have believed it after the season he had last year? Miller says, of course, we believe in each other. There's good parts of seasons and bad. Right now, all I can worry about is myself and how I'm going to be a better player and put my teammates in a better position to succeed. We're never going to point fingers. It's a group here. It's on us. And now, with this in mind, just getting Miller's own frame of mind into the picture here, thinking about what he said, thinking about how he's reacting to all of this. Let's dive into some analysis from Rick Dhaliwal. He was on Halford and Brough earlier this morning and spoke out about the Miller situation. There's been a lot of Miller talk as of late, especially in the last 16 or so hours following the LA Kings game. But Rick Dhaliwal said this on the morning show: there were people in the organization that wanted to sign Bo Horvat over JT Miller, but the decision was made to sign Miller. If you signed Bo at the time, these dressing room issues would have been eliminated. And here's the thing. I don't necessarily know if Canucks fans were ready to have that sort of an outcome back in the day. And I say back in the day like it wasn't like 3 years ago. But Vancouver had Bo Horvat, whom they had drafted back in 2013. He had developed the entire time in Vancouver. He was bred by the Sedins. He was a leader. He was a well-liked guy. Unfortunately, the team didn't exhibit much success under Bo, aside from a Game 7 appearance in the second round against the Vegas Golden Knights in the bubble playoffs with Travis Green. Bo was not necessarily at fault, but he was the guy who was the captain and the main person on this team, not exhibiting any success for all those years after Henrik and Daniel retired. He was younger and had a more deep connection with the Canucks organization than JT. However, JT did have a 99-point season and a 100-point season 2 seasons later. He was one of the top guys in the gosh darn NHL. But right now, he's exhibiting a Jonathan Huberdeau-like decline from greatness that I don't think anybody in Vancouver would have anticipated here. And so obviously with hindsight, it's easy to say, oh yeah, Horvat's doing okay in New York. What if the Canucks just kept him and they didn't have Miller instead? Like, obviously, it would be easy to make that sort of an argument. But at the same time, all you gotta do is just go back 1 year ago, and everybody was saying the opposite. Things change quickly in this market, I'm learning. And for Vancouver Canucks fans reading this, it certainly does spark some strong emotions. Dhaliwal also said this about JT, that this season has been a drain on him. The club sees it, they realize change is needed with Miller, they probably now need to move Miller quickly than originally thought. Just changing the dynamic and the feel of that dressing room would be a whole lot better. And that, I think, is something that a lot of Canucks fans would mostly agree on based off of the way the team is playing. Obviously, none of us are in the room. None of us talk to any of these players on a daily basis. Nobody really knows what's going on or how the vibes are in that room. But based off of how this gosh darn team is playing, based off of what they're looking like on the ice, there is no way anybody is looking at this team and thinking to themselves, yeah, that locker room must be great right now. Everybody's super good, and they're all friends, and the top players are all playing like top players. It's only really Quinn Hughes. You know, I said it multiple times throughout the past 24 hours or so, but based off of how things are going, I honestly wouldn't be too opposed to trading both Miller and Pettersson. But that's just me. Links are going to be in the description if you want to go ahead and read the iMac article, and we're also going to leave a link in the description to this one final Donnie and Dolly video from the Donnie and Dolly Twitter account, because this is what was talked about also on the show, that the New York Rangers are still in on JT Miller and other teams that we have not heard about just yet. They, of course, opened up the entire conversation by diving into JT Miller's play and just how inadequate he was, and now the deep hole that JT Miller has dug himself into seems to have gotten even deeper with all the trade conversation, talk about the New Jersey Devils, and even more conversations about him getting moved and him not being his best. So thoughts in the comment section below about all of the stuff Vancouver has been going through and talking about in regards to JT Miller and the comments that he had made about yesterday's Game 2. Do you think he played his behind off? I'm not honestly too sure, but you can let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.